Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture. I'm your host, Esther Gishuki. Let's have a look at today's top stories. Experts project fall in coffee revenue.
As producers of Kenya, our Kenyan coffee, we believe strongly that our coffee is very good and it's specialty.
Naivas Ketepa signed deal to double tea consumption.
The younger people tend to favor cold beverages over the hot ones, including tea.
Hybrid coconut seedlings imported from India.
Katika Kilifi County, huu ni mradi ambao tunautilia maanani sana.
There will be clear roles between the National Irrigation Board and county governments in regards to facilitating irrigation activities in the country. This is after President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the Irrigation Bill of 2019 into law last Friday. Valentina Tieno with more.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has signed into law two bills aimed at improving food security and proper utilization of land resources. The president assented to the Irrigation Bill and the Land Value Amendment Bill for both of 2019 yesterday at State House, Nairobi. The two laws seek to streamline the development, management and regulation of irrigation and make land rates, rent, stamp duty and compensation predictable, rational and not prone to subjective valuations. The Irrigation Act is intended to support sustainable food production by, among other interventions, establishing the National Irrigation Development Authority. Under the new established laws, NIDA is mandated to develop and improve irrigation infrastructure for national or public schemes. It will also provide irrigation support services to private, medium, and smallholder projects in collaboration with county governments. Under the current Act Cap 347, NIB's mandate is only limited to the 7 public irrigation schemes in Kenya, namely Mwea, Bura, Tana, Ahero, West Kano, Perkera, and Bunyala irrigation schemes. The Land Value Amendment Act will, on the other hand, be streamlining land rates, rent, stamp duty, and compensation processes.
It's a game changer. I can say confidently it's going to be a game changer, expanding the existing ones and starting new ones. And when we are starting new ones, we have got to be very careful how many households we are reaching. You know, you can invest 40 million and reach 200 households. You can spend 40 million and reach 1,000 households. So all those factors are going to be taken into account. But what is important is the proper utilization of the resources that we are going to get from the national government.
A deadlock between the National Irrigation Board and Israeli farm Green Arava over how much was meant to be spent on repair works at Galana Kulalu Food Security Project is expected to be resolved by September. This even as NIB takes over the maize model farm of about 1,500 acres.
Located in Tana River and Kilifi counties, Galana Kulalu promised to address food shortages in the country and make maize flour cheaper for Kenyans. Construction work at this food security project started in September 2014 and was set to be completed in 18 months. But this is yet to happen.
There was issues concerning contract management between the contractor and the employer, which is NIB. And currently, we are trying to resolve the issue.
Irrigation Principal Secretary Fred Sigor was here to assert the project is not a white elephant. This despite a deadlock between the National Irrigation Board and the contractor Green Arava.
Galana Kulalu is not a failed project, the way the chairman has said. Of course, the expectation of this project was that it ought to have been completed. So really, we've taken so much time. But I want to assure Kenyans that indeed the issue of producing maize in this Galana farm is successful because already we are doing the third crop.
The two sides are feuding over repair works after River Galana changed its course and diverted water away from the farm. Green Arava said repair works would cost 700 million shillings, a figure NIB refuted and went ahead to do the repairs at a cost of 38 million shillings. Green Arava are now waiting for a resolution from a committee constituted by the Ministry of Agriculture to resolve the stalemate. Office of the Attorney General, National Treasury and the Presidential Delivery Unit are involved in the discussions.
It's separation now, so until the divorce comes, contractor is still here. But we are waiting for the solution. Once we get that divorce, then he will be out.
Meanwhile, the National Irrigation Board expects to harvest at least 30 bags of maize per acre from 1,500 acres.
You are aware that equipment which are here, one, if you don't use an equipment, it will start deteriorating. And therefore, one aspect of NIB carrying out a production is to ensure that we make use of the equipment which is owned by the government.
National Irrigation Board is also targeting cotton and legumes production in 300 acres and 80 acres respectively.
2 center pivots dedicated to production of cotton. As you are aware, we also want to find out how cotton does under irrigation in this part of the land. In addition, we are also having a pilot also on pasture development. And also the other legumes.
According to the National Irrigation Board, Galana Kulalu Model Farm is 85% complete. 5.9 billion shillings has been paid to the contractor and 2.4 billion is yet to be spent. NIB is currently increasing the capacity of the pumping station by installing 5 additional pumps.
The Kenya Tobacco Control Alliance has urged the government not to license any new products set to be released by leading tobacco manufacturers in the country. This comes after the National Cancer Institute of Kenya, based at the Ministry of Health, released a report showing the growing cancer burden in Kenya.
We believe tobacco companies are using the introduction of this product in public relations campaign to portray themselves as part of the solution to the global tobacco epidemic, when in fact their main business is still to sell cigarettes, which are known to kill over 30,000 Kenyans annually. This product should be subjected to policies that have proven effective in reducing tobacco use, including plain packaging and bans on flavoring. The possibility of tobacco industry interference in tobacco cessation efforts through misinformation about the potential benefits of these products, which are presented as alternatives, but in most cases are complementary to the use of conventional tobacco products.
Now, did you know that Kenyans consume only 5% of the total tea produced in the country? This is according to data from the Tea Directorate of the Agriculture and Foods Authority. Now, Naivas Supermarket and Kenya Tea Packers Ketepa have partnered up to drive up tea consumption by marking the inaugural Kenya Tea Month. Kenya Tea Month, scheduled to run for the whole of August every year, will herald the beginning of an appreciation journey designed to double tea intake by Kenyans by taking people from the original black tea to the very latest specialty varieties and collector editions. It also features a number of interactive sessions where renowned tea baristas are expected to make several demonstration sessions covering skills such as tea brewing and tasting for the younger population.
The younger people tend to favor cold beverages over the hot ones, including tea. Only about 6% of Kenyans below the age of 30 buy tea regularly, which is actually a problem that we need to address. We firmly believe that the current rate of tea consumption can easily grow by 5% over the next 1 year, once you onboard the millennials to the other fun and healthy points on placing tea into their lifestyle. Internally, as Naivas, we believe that tea will be growing at least more than 30%. And last year, it's good to actually attribute because tea grew at 27% within Naivas stores. A good fit for the concentration of which you'll actually put within that particular category.
When we think of food security, we rarely think of insects. Well, some experts have discovered that crickets could as well provide Kenya with the much-needed nutrients and thus contribute to the agenda of food security.
The protein from the insect is so good that we shall not have the problem of the climate change. We cannot produce maize and beans, or we cannot keep poultry and things like that. You produce one insect and you get almost all the amino proteins you need. you get almost all the minerals you need and all the vitamins you need and the other physical chemicals of the insects.
The lifespan of this cricket is around 3 to 4 months within which you're able to harvest. So it means if a farmer has to do this, then you're sure of at least harvesting 3 times in a year. So if you look at space, we are using very little space. If you look at time duration to recoup your money, then you can be able to see. Tell me any livestock industry that you're going to rear within 3 months.
Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization and Equatorial Nut Processors have sealed a deal to promote nut production in the country. The collaboration being ratified will see farmers benefit from the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization's nut technologies, while Equatorial Nut Production will procure over 90% of raw materials of produce from all farmers. Speaking during the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding at the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization headquarters, the Director General of Carlo, Eliud Kirega, said the products will be marketed both locally and internationally, especially in the USA and Europe, which are important markets for nuts. Speaking during the signing of Memorandum of Understanding at Carlo headquarters, the Director General of Carlo, Eliud Kirega, say the products will be marketed both locally and internationally, especially in the USA and Europe, which are important markets for nuts. However, Kirega said the crop improvement programs undertaken in their research institutes have resulted in the development of improved varieties of the main nuts in the country.
The collaboration being ratified today is actually a double win for Kenyan farmers. They will not only benefit enormously from Carlo's nuts technologies, but ENP will also procure over 90% of the raw materials of produce from them, which includes macadamia nuts, cashew nuts, peanuts, maize, soybeans, sorghum, to process and value add into consumer food products. These products will be marketed both locally and internationally, especially in the US and Europe, which are very important markets for nuts. Majority of the nut crops introduced into the country have aged and now produce low yields with poor nut quality.
The dairy sector is one of the strategic factors that most counties in Kenya are embracing as a way of eradicating farmers out of poverty. While most farmers are being sensitized to improve their dairy breeds, there is one farm in Uasin Gishu County which has embraced another kind of technology known as IDA, the Intelligent Dairy Farmers Assistant. Our reporter Jacqueline Kemunto attended one of the many training sessions that are usually offered at the farm and filed the following report.
Ilula Farm is one of the medium-scale dairy farms located in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. The farm started its dairy farming operations back in 2014 with a cattle herd of 39 animals, producing a total of 48,226 liters of milk per year. In 2019, the farm has since grown to 48 milking cows, producing more than 235,000 liters of milk per year, with a cattle herd of 40 milking cows and 60 heifers. Welcoming us at the farm was Esther Koimet, the owner of the farm, also the principal secretary in the transport docket.
We are doing a little bit of everything, but mainly we are tending now towards doing dairy and horticulture, vegetables mainly. And then obviously we plant animal feed. So for example, when you see the maize that is here, it's actually maize for animal feed. So we'll cut it when the time comes into silage, just to feed the animals. I have a manager here who's a very experienced person, and you know everything falls and rises with management. So he's the one on the ground. He's the one who runs the farm.
Before we were allowed into the farm, we were instructed on the health and safety precautions that are usually laid for any breeder farm, and one of them entailed washing our feet at the foot bath availed by the farm right at the entrance of the farm. According to Magut, the implementation of IDA has been a true eye-opener for him, as he instantly saw the practical way in which IDA monitors the behavior of his cows. Actionable insights provided by IDA's analytics was a very different way of managing his cattle herds as compared to only relying on the farmer's own gut feeling and experience. During the installation of IDA, Magut was mainly fascinated that an IDA technician could tell him what is happening at the farm based on the insights. For example, the number of feeding times per cow is shown. Like most of the other farmers in Kenya, Mr. Magut had been struggling to improve the milk production of his herd, mainly caused by challenges on sourcing for high-quality feeds and improving genetics.
This farm has been there for quite a long time, but that not been utilized properly. And then we thought of working on it now and improving it around 5 years ago. And we started actually working on a serious note 5 years ago. Mungu amejalia sisi, amepatia sisi akili kidogo. Tunaongea na ng'ombe yetu. Saidi anasikia tumbo iko mbaya, ama anapatia chakula mbaya, anapikia mzimu. Anasema kuja angalia mimi maneno hapa sio mzuri. Nyumbani iko salama.
When it comes to feeds, we got to learn that the animals at Ilula farm are usually fed on natural feeds which are formulated at the farm.
I will not allow my cows to starve. Hiyo ugonjwa inaitwa hollow belly disease. For me now, what has happened here, naona ile mahindi. That's now my current family. Nakata, we'll it for a day, leave it, ichache kidogo, ipucha hapa, mimi na mixi wanapita hiyo machine inakuja hapa. Na mimi naweka sali kidogo. Sali, that's already like silage now. Because kwa sababu nimekosa. Otherwise, my main feed is silage. It's about 18 kilos for 20-liter cow, around 16 for a 15-liter cow, around 14 somewhere there, kilos for ego this atapatia vijana yangu taeleza nyinyi. So what I'm doing now here is that I've changed. Otherwise this was the silage I had. So inaelekea kukwisha.
Being one of the renowned large-scale dairy farmers in Uasin Gishu County, Esther Koimet concludes by posing a challenge to aspiring women farmers to come out and speak if they are in need of any policies to be passed or changes in the already set policies.
We can do it. We can do it. And for us, because I also work for government, if there are issues where women feel that they need government support, they need policy some policy pronouncement to help, they should be able to reach out to us and let us know, either through through whichever channel. There's obviously also a Ministry of Gender that looks at gender issues and so on, and we need to make sure that we are connecting onto the ground, listening to women, listening to how we can facilitate them, because they really do a lot.
Reporting for Farmers TV, I'm Jacqueline Kemunto.
The government has announced it is set to kick off the second phase of Mau forest evictions without compensation. Environment CS Keriako Tobiko says about 60,000 squatters illegally settled on the gazetted water catchment area will be affected. Some of the squatters moved back to their escarpment after being evicted during phase 1 of the exercise, which was marred by violence as squatters resisted orders to vacate the area. Confrontation was blamed on politicians who ignited tribal emotions. CS Tobiko spoke during the inauguration of the Kenya Water Towers Agency Board.
The mention of the Mau Forest Complex evokes memories of conservation versus politics. But as this pattern weaves itself in and out of the calendar, for the Environment CS Keriako Tobiko, the signs of the times are here.
Our rains are no longer predictable, as it happened in the last rain season. The drought, more severe, more prolonged, more intense.
The exact timing for phase 2 of the eviction has remained a tightly kept piece of information, but anxiety has been building over the past few months, with the matter even heading to court.
Mujue yale ndo Tobiko anapigania sio tu ya Wamasai ama Wakalenjin ama wa Kenya. Hii ni jambo ambalo linahusu wale wa Afrika Mashariki wote kule Tanzania na kwingineko.
There is nothing like compensation for Mau. If you are in Mau, the title you have is a paper title.
The 455,000 hectare Mau Forest Complex comprises of 22 forest blocks, 21 are state forests under the Kenya Forest Service, while the 46,278-hectare Masai Mau forest, considered the most threatened, is under Narok County government as gazetted trust land.
There's a section called Olpusumoru, which is a complete forest reserve. That one, there were 4 adjudication sections which were declared illegally, and people were allocated land.
Iko watu pale na watoto wao na familia yao na viongozi wao ambao hawawezi kuwawachilia.
A report by the Environment CS presented before Parliament Committee on Environment in August 2018 highlights mushrooming of settlements in the forest dating back to the 1970s and logging as the biggest contributors of Mau forest degradation. Previous evictions have taken place in 2003, 2009 and 2015. Among proposed measures in the anticipated Phase 2 eviction include holding as criminally liable individuals who process titles and hived off forest land, reforestation and fencing off the reclaimed portions. But all these are not likely to go unchallenged. Mark Namaswa, KTN News.
Kenya's earning from coffee is expected to drop by 3 billion shillings compared to the 2017-2018 period due to the increased supply of the commodity in the global markets. This is according to the agricultural sector regulator.
Agriculture and Food Authority says a coffee glut, mainly due to a steep rise in production from Brazil, Vietnam and Ethiopia, has depressed the global market, leading to the drop in prices. The regulator, however, notes that increased local consumption, identifying more coffee specialty market and creating transparency and accountability would further cushion farmers from the global market shocks.
As producers of Kenya, our Kenyan coffee, we believe strongly that our coffee is very good and it's specialty. By capping the coffees and scoring over 85 on the what we call the SCA capping spoon, we are able to see these as a high quality specialty coffee. But also specialty depends on how the climatic conditions are in a country. So we are endowed as Kenya with quite the right climatic condition to grow very good coffee. The high altitude, the ecological balances in Kenya and the soil are really excellent for our coffee growing.
According to a market report from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, a kilo of coffee traded this week at 203 shillings or 10,199 shillings per a 50-kilogram bag. Coffee trade experts from 12 African countries meeting in Mombasa are asking farmers to increase local consumption and explore new markets. The experts are planning for the 18th African Fine Coffee Conference and exhibition scheduled to be held in Mombasa in February next year.
My call, or our call as Africa to the different governments, is collaboration in the research, because the research takes a longer time to yield results. But if there is any country that has advanced in the research, it's better to collaborate rather than duplicating. We Africans, we must also taste our own coffees. We must make sure that there's no chef who can really bring a plate of food on your table without actually having tasted it.
Coffee production has been on the decline from 129,000 metric tons in 1987-1988 to the current production of less than 50,000, largely due to farmers' apathy on low earnings. The area under coffee production in the country has also reduced from 170,000 hectares in the 90s to the current 115,000 hectares. Keep Boy, KTN Business.
We're taking a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Be sure to engage with us on our social media platforms at Farm Kenya 254.